take this kind of a risk, because this could have been an absolute disaster, and it wasn't.
You bet. The risk couldn't be higher. With that, let's bring in retired Navy captain and former Pentagon official Brent Sadler. Brent, good morning. Happy Easter to you. We have been calling this rescue an Easter miracle all morning, and you may have just heard Trey Yingst, our reporter in Tel Aviv, laying out the complexity of all the components that came together, from the special operators on the ground to the aircraft going in to the CIA deception plan. What is your take on what we are now learning about?
Yeah, happy Easter, and we have much to be thankful for. The last time the U.S. military tried something like this was almost 26 years ago in Operation Eagle Claw to rescue over 50 American hostages that had been held for over 400 days at the time in April of 1980. Again, in Iran, but that ended in disaster. It resulted in a lot of inward introspection of the military, the creation of Special Forces Command, as well as what we have today, the joint service that we appreciate, and the integrated military service operations that we benefit from. And certainly this mission is I think, a reflection of that. So very complex mission. It's, again, I want to double down on a message that Trey Yingst was talking about, and that is that this demonstrates to the Iranian leadership that we can get anywhere that we so choose and hold ground as long as we desire to accomplish a mission. Isfahan does have sensitive nuclear sites and has been the target of attacks in the past. These operations occurred not too far from there. The message should also be, not only can we rescue our pilots, but we can also go to where we need to secure nuclear equipment or the remainders of their leadership.
Yeah, for those of us who are old enough to remember the debacle in the desert, this is quite a departure, to say the least. Yes. Listen, I just want to say, quite frankly, this is one of those circumstances where, and I think Rachel pointed it out earlier, you just didn't know how this might go. And the fact that this has turned out in a positive way is obviously a moment for celebration. Not just for the life of the person who was saved, but obviously for those who are on the ground. I'm just curious, what's the level of coordination between agencies to pull off something like this, Brent?
Well, there have been reports that other non-military agencies, intelligence agencies, were involved, as well as, of course, the Air Force, Special Forces from various services engaged, the U.S. Navy with its air power and the carriers. And then I think there's an international aspect of this. Of course, our Gulf partners would have had to have given some clearance for the aircraft to fly through. We wouldn't know what it was for. And of course, the Israelis, I think they had a deeply integrated into this to shift their targets and their attacks so that it would draw the Iranians away or keep them busy as we focused in on locating and exfiltrating our pilot.
Well, it's a remarkable, I mean, we're just still in awe right here sitting on the couch. We had no idea how this would turn out yesterday. We all had a great fear inside of us that this man could be captured, could be used by the Iranians to embarrass our military. And of course, we were so worried for his family. And they woke up to an Easter miracle.
Yeah, and you know, just a few seconds left we've got, Brenda. I do want to ask you, because you were talking about the message that's being sent, that Trey was talking about, and you're doubling down on it. In just a few seconds we've got left, what is it? How does that impact this deadline? The president has given a Monday deadline about telling Iran to come back to the negotiation table. We've not seen him willing to negotiate in good faith yet. What does this mean now?
Well, I think it underlies any attempt by the Iranians to try to use something like this for political purposes to put a halt on military operations was just dispelled. Despite going and hunting down and successfully exfiltrating our pilot, the operations and the attacks that continued, which means that deadline that President Trump has given is very serious, and the regime in Tehran better take it as such, because there's a lot more that's coming their way, if not.
Brent Sadler, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Happy Easter.